You know, if there's one thing that we learned in the last class about security fundamentals, it's that you and I, we're on the front lines when it comes to securing our networks, securing our systems. And there's risks out there that are happening every day to us. We have to stay vigilant. And I'm going to put some faces to that risk that you might see. Edward Snowden is a former CIA employee. He leaked classified information from the NSA. This is a classic case of this disgruntled employee. Do you have an Edward Snowden in your district? Maybe. And then there's Scottish computer hacker Gary McKinnon. He accessed 97 military networks, U.S. military networks, and he left the military a message on their website. Your security is crap. This was all fun and games for Gary, but it wasn't for the military who had to take 97 systems offline. And then there's El Chapo. Yeah, he might not be hacking your systems anytime soon, but he is a scary guy, right? So what are the attacks that we're having to look for on a daily basis? Well, did any of these attacks look familiar to you? Identity spoofing, denial of service, man-in-the-middle attacks, or application layer attacks. That's some scary stuff right there. But I've got one threat that you want me to be completely aware of. And this is so scary, you're going to wish you had your childhood blankie with you right now. It's the social engineering, the clever manipulation of the natural human tendency to trust. And you know what this does? This puts a completely different face on our security risks. So instead of worrying about El Chapo, you might have to worry about El Sneaky. About this happening. The dynamic duo. Who, me? Or even worse, make my day.
I don't even remember that.
The fact is, our networks are only as secure as the people that use our networks. And we know that, right? What do we do to mitigate this type of risk? I mean, this is social engineering. I'll tell you what we do. We create strong policies for strong passwords. Any of you have policies like the minimum of 8 characters, capital letters, number, special character, and you can't duplicate the password for the past 10 years? Does that sound familiar? All right. Give me a show of hands. Who here can say that they implement strong password policies in their daily activities, personally? Does anybody do that one? All right, look around. See these people with their hands raised? Those are true IT security professionals. And they should be proud. But the problem is, the people on our networks, they aren't IT security professionals. They're teachers, they're administrators, they're secretaries. And what do they do when we ask them to memorize an 8-digit password that changes every 6 months? Oh, they write it down on a sticky and stick it under the keyboard, right? And that's what we're doing to ourselves. Social engineering is a risk that we're playing a part of. When we create policies that people can't implement, they circumvent those policies and they create even larger holes in our network. And this is where the lesson can come in. You see, we don't have to be victims to this. We can think through social engineering and think ahead of it. Because if we can create policies that people can engage in that are meaningful and relevant to them, we can help bring them onto our security team. So let's take, for instance, the password policy. How can we change that one? We always tell people that they have to create strong passwords. But we don't tell them how to create passwords or how to even remember passwords. This is one of my super strong passwords.
Not anymore.
Yeah, you're not writing this. Look at this, capital letters. I got special characters. I got nobody is going to guess my password, are they? But I'll tell you, I can type this password any time of day, and I'll never forget. I'm not going to forget this password for the rest of my life. And I'm betting that none of you will either. Because the way that I help my staff and the people that work in our district create their passwords is I make it meaningful to them. I ask them to create a sentence. Take the first letter of every word in that sentence. Replace words with special characters where you can, and maybe even throw in a number in place of a word. And you can come up with a super strong password that you'll never forget. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. And that's what I type every time I'm logging into our system. If you're at my school district, that's what you'll be typing too, won't you? This is one of my favorite passwords. 8 characters long. I got capital letters. I got special characters and a number. And the beautiful thing about this password is it reminds me every time I type it that Joseph Garcia owes me 2 cold beers. Who's Joseph? He's a tech of mine that wrote his password on a sticky note. So we can change our perspective when it comes to network security and take a look at our policies. If we can create policies that incorporate the people that are using our systems, we might be able to create a team of security experts. And instead of being worried and afraid of the threats that are out there, we can transform them into allies in our network security. Thank you.